A very important thing in inventory management is having reliable information so that we have up-to-date and accurate information within our IT system so that we can make the right decisions. And for us to do that, we have two approaches. One is the periodic approach, according to which periodically we physically check what we have in our warehouse, which requires quite an amount of labor that has to um, make sure that there is the right information stored in our IT systems. Another approach is the perpetual or continuous system, which means having our inventory tracked as things occur, so that when we have any inputs, it's recorded immediately by reading the barcode or an RFID tag. And the same thing happens when we ship products out of our warehouse. And this, of course, requires an information system and the technology and the corresponding investment. So this is a situation which is common for large warehouses, and you can find this kind of approaches in medium to mostly small warehouses where you don't have the interest in having this kind of investment is not uh, so obvious. Um, Anyways, there are differences between what you have stored in your IT system and what you have in your inventory, which is stored in your warehouse. That is due to damages, pilferage, which is stealing, clerical errors, and a number of situations that may account for those differences. So you need to make sure that you identify them at time and update your information system. And Shimshi Levy from MIT, which is an expert in supply chain management, states that a 1% sales of loss in terms of inventory in the retail industry is okay. And you can find values which are even larger than 3%. These are two videos you can check about one of the technologies you can have to keep track of your inventory, which is RFID, and might illustrate how things are done. Um, Even when you have a perpetual system with a technology that allows you to keep track of inputs and outputs or your inventory in any of your warehouses, from time to time you need to physically go and check that what you have is actually what you have stored in your information system. And one approach is to do that on a yearly basis, for example, which probably requires shutting down the whole warehouse. But opposite to that, we can do something which is a more suitable for most cases, which is cycle counting. Cycle counting consists in checking what you have in your warehouse, not globally, but picking different parts of the warehouse one at a time. And usually we combine this with a ABC classification approach. The advantages of this is that we do not need to shut down the facility so that the activity doesn't need to stop. We have more reliable data because we don't have to wait for a whole year to get information updated, and you can identify and fix errors earlier, which implies having better information for making better decisions. And the way to combine this with an ABC approach is illustrated by this a simple example. Imagine we have 5,000 items in your warehouse, out of which 500 are A type, 1,750 are B type, and a large number of those, 2,750, are C type. So you want to have different control depending on the type. You want to have tight control on A items. You want them checked every month. You are not that tight. You are more relaxed about that because you want them checked every 6 months, which is 120 working days, and P items are somewhere in between, and you want them checked every 3 months, which is like 60 working days. So this table does the quantification of how much effort you should devote to each type of items. So for example, A-type items, of which we have 500, should be checked every 20 days. So that means checking 25 per day. The same with B items, which means checking 29 items per day. And finally, you have to check 23 items per day, which accounts for a total of 77 items per day. So if you do that in a daily basis, that's what you have to do. If you are doing that on a weekly basis, you should multiply each of those values times 5 working days per week, and so on. So the point is that even although you have a kind of uniform number of items to check of every type, since you have different quantities, that means a different period for you getting checked depending on the type, which is clever in terms of devoting the right effort to the right according to the items you have in your warehouse. So I hope these two videos allows you to be aware of the importance of having information up to date and how you can physically count what you have in your warehouse combined with this ABC classification. Thank you very much.